Welcome to Motivation Stories Vault, where we explore the hidden psychological barriers standing between you and your greatest potential today. Meet David, a young man with eyes full of bright starlight and a heart overflowing with grand ambitions and dreams. David possessed a peculiar habit of announcing every single plan to the entire village before he had even started working. The villagers would clap their hands and cheer for him, praising his vision before he had lifted a single finger. He basked in their warm admiration, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment wash over him, without doing any actual labor. His brain received a rush of dopamine, tricking him into believing the hard work was already finished and fully achieved. With the reward already received in the form of praise, the burning fire to actually do the work quickly vanished. He would start a painting, write the first page of a book, or sketch a house, but never finished anything. The cheers eventually turned into whispers, and David became known as the man who spoke loudly but created absolutely nothing. He felt a deep emptiness inside, wondering why his motivation always evaporated the moment he shared his plans with others. Desperate for answers, he decided to climb the high mountain to seek wisdom from an ancient elder living in solitude. The journey was long and difficult, symbolizing the internal struggle he faced between his grand ego and his actual reality. He found the elder sitting in deep silence, an aura of peace surrounding him that contrasted with David's chaotic mind. David poured out his heart, explaining how his energy always dissipated like smoke whenever he spoke of his big dreams. The wise man did not offer words immediately, but instead handed David 2 small seeds and led him to the garden. He held up 2 identical seeds, explaining that these represented the potential within every idea that David had ever conceived. He instructed David to bury the first seed deep within the dark, cold soil, covering it completely from human sight. This seed was left in total darkness, isolated from the world, with no one to admire its shape or potential. Then they moved to a large stone where the elder placed the second seed, fully exposed to the bright sun. The elder told David to praise the exposed seed every day, telling it how beautiful and magnificent it would become. David felt foolish, but obeyed, singing songs of glory to the seed on the rock, announcing its greatness to nature. Days turned into weeks as David faithfully watered the ground where the first seed lay and praised the second one. One afternoon, a bird spotted the exposed seed, swooped down, and carried it away before it could ever take root. Even if the bird had not come, the sun would have dried out the seed, leaving it barren and lifeless. Meanwhile, in the silence of the dark soil, the first seed had broken open, sending roots deep into the earth. A strong green sprout emerged, growing steadily without any applause, fueled only by the nutrients of the soil and silence. David looked between the empty rock and the growing plant, realizing the profound truth hidden in this simple gardening lesson. The elder explained that the seed on the rock is like your goals when you share them too early. When you seek validation, you expose your dream to the harsh elements of ego and the theft of distraction. David realized that every time he spoke of his plans, he was feeding his ego instead of fueling his work. True growth requires the darkness of privacy, where you can make mistakes and struggle without the pressure of an audience. The energy you spend talking about the project is the exact same energy required to actually complete the difficult project. David thanked the master, his eyes no longer seeking approval but burning with a quiet, intense, and focused determination. He returned to his village, walking past the tavern where his friends gathered, resisting the urge to share his revelation. They called out to him, asking for his latest story, but David simply smiled mysteriously and continued walking to his workshop. He locked the door, Embracing the solitude that he once feared, ready to plant his seed in the dark soil, David decided to test this wisdom by starting a new project, vowing to build a wooden chair in total silence. The silence was difficult at first, as he fought the urge to run to the tavern and boast about it. When he made a mistake, there was no one to judge him, and no premature praise to make him lazy. He channeled his frustration back into the wood, correcting his errors with a patience he had never possessed before. Weeks passed in isolation, and the chaotic noise in his head was replaced by the rhythmic sound of his tools. As the chair took shape, David felt a new kind of satisfaction, one that was solid, real, and privately earned. When the final coat of varnish was applied, he stood back and admired his work, feeling a profound inner peace. He realized that the joy of completion was infinitely sweeter than the cheap sugar rush of empty validation from others. He opened the doors of his workshop, letting the morning sun reveal the masterpiece he had created in the dark. A passerby stopped, their eyes widening in amazement at the craftsmanship that had seemingly appeared out of thin air. The crowd gathered, whispering in awe, shocked that David had built something so magnificent without ever bragging about it. When they asked for his secret, David simply smiled, knowing that his silence had been the most powerful tool. David continued to work in this manner, becoming a master craftsman whose actions always spoke louder than his words. He regained the respect of the village, not through promises of what he would do, but through what he had done. Years later, he would teach apprentices to guard their goals like precious seeds, protecting them from the premature sun. The world is full of noise and people announcing plans that will never happen. Do not be one of them. Be like the seed in the soil. Gather your strength in silence. Grow your roots deep and emerge only when ready. You do not need an audience to validate your efforts. The results you produce will eventually command their attention. Keep your intentions hidden, let the pressure build up inside you, and use that pressure to propel you forward. In a world that demands instant sharing, dare to be the one who works in the shadows until victory. The greatest achievements in history were not announced on the first day, but revealed only when they were undeniable. Protect your dreams from the thieves of distraction and the saboteurs of early praise, and you will surely succeed. Your goals are fragile in the beginning. Treat them with the secrecy and protection they deserve to survive. Let them wonder what you are up to, and let them be stunned when you finally show the result. The sweat you shed in private will shine brighter than any diamond when you finally step into the light. Build something that lasts, build something that matters, and do it for yourself, not for the applause of strangers. Remember David's story whenever you feel the urge to update your status before you have finished your mission. Silence is not empty. It is full of answers, full of power, and full of the potential for greatness. Go now, bury your seed in the dark soil of hard work, and nurture it with your focused silence. The world is waiting for your masterpiece, but only if you have the discipline to keep it a secret. Thank you for watching Motivation Stories Vault. Subscribe to protect your dreams and let your results speak louder than words.